So people sometimes ask about the Cincom Smalltalk Foundation. What is it? How is it used? Basically, it's a core shared foundation that our primary Smalltalk products, ObjectStudio and VisualWorks, share. So in the past, you may have seen this slide, the Cincom Smalltalk Foundation, that both our products, ObjectStudio and VisualWorks, sit upon. And over time, that has transformed to this, where the foundation is larger and the unique pieces to each product sits on top. What that allows us to do is concentrate on the foundation, and any work we put into the foundation is shared by our primary Smalltalk products. So you might ask, what exactly is that foundation? What is it? What does it provide? So conceptually, this is most of the primary pieces of the foundation. We have the core Smalltalk library, which has grown and been refined over literally decades. Core graphics for each platform it runs on. Traditional browsers, search tools, code editors, the Smalltalk debugger, which is fairly unique as far as debuggers go. In Smalltalk in general, the debugger allows you to do a lot more than a traditional debugger. It allows you to essentially write, compile, and test code immediately. Not only that, you can change the data in objects right there and change things and try things out in real time. And that's a big advantage when you want to get things done rather than a delayed loop, which you may lose your thought process. You can do things immediately and try them out. And this is one of the reasons that people who get used to Smalltalk absolutely love it. So what other things do we have? Well, any platform needs to communicate outside of itself. So it needs to be able to read and write files. So we have a file system. We can communicate on sockets for a number of reasons. We can communicate outside via a C interface. We can communicate with a large number of relational databases with our database APIs. We have a window manager, so we can work cross-platform on different operating systems. We have a parcel manager, which allows us to both read the source code and compiled code very quickly. It's pretty advanced in that it can resolve things that are and are not there. So it can override things and unoverride them when you remove it. It's actually pretty sophisticated and helps you avoid some pretty difficult problems. But we do have some APIs into unique operating systems to do standard things, like you can launch applications on the different platforms. We have a built-in help system for the help for our product, and it can also be used for help that you provide in an application. We have a very advanced Smalltalk source code manager and many tools called Store. So, for example, you can look at a method and say, show me every version of this method so I can see how it's changed over time, and you can get that information instantly. You can select two, for example, and say, show me the exact differences, and you'll see that in a graphical representation. We have network services and web services to communicate on a large number of protocols. One of the very foundation things, we have a just-in-time compiler and execution, which kind of became the standard years ago for how this work is done on dynamic languages like Smalltalk, like modern things like Python, etc. It's kind of set the standard. You'll also see security, and you might ask, well, why is that outside the box? Well, we make a point of making our security work external to the product, so it's not actual Smalltalk code that's doing the security, and we do that for a number of reasons, performance being one of them, and also export restrictions. So the work, the security work is actually done external and in a very standardized way by things like OpenSSL or what the native platform provides. So again, this is the foundation concept, and what it is essentially is a set of services provided for creating, developing, testing, and deploying Smalltalk applications. So how is that used in our products? Well, here is ObjectStudio, and you can see it sits on top of the foundation. And ObjectStudio is a Windows-centric product. It's what we call the business person's thinking tool. It has specific tools for business modeling, and it also uses native Windows widgets, which is unique to it. So it includes those widgets, the infrastructure and tools to support those widgets, and some other various tools. But it sits on the foundation and gets all those things and basic development tools and debuggers and compilers, etc., that are part of the foundation. Our other major Smalltalk product, VisualWorks, which we think of as the cross-platform do-anything Smalltalk solution. So if you want to run on Windows, Mac OS, Linux, and Unix and be able to essentially port instantly, VisualWorks is your choice. It uses, and this is pretty interesting what it can do for widgets. It can give you customizable but natively rendered widgets. It can also do, and that's just on Windows and Mac OS. On other ones, we have emulated widgets, which are very flexible, and you can have a number of different skins for those widgets. So, for example, on Linux, you could make it look like a different platform, or even create your own custom look if that was what you required or desired. It has tools specific to these widgets, and like I mentioned, a skins infrastructure, which is used for things like dark mode as well. And that actually can be used in the foundation as well for development.